so, to me, then it became clear that it must be fundamental to the way the universe functions. And now when you start to think of it that way, now you have the basis, the mechanics of consciousness, and you realize that it's not individualized to a human being, but it is a fundamental functioning of the structure of nature, and that the end result is this human being looking back at itself going, what am I and what is this universe? Does that make sense?
Yes, and if you can understand that, I think you can use that in your day-to-day living and begin to do some incredible things with this. It's almost like a gift.
That's right. First of all, it takes away the dogmas, and then you start to realize that you are interacting with the universe. One of the early realization I had, I think I was more in my around 15 or 16, when I realized that the atoms are made out of 99.99999% space. And so I realized that our world is actually, mostly space, and that what we call the real world, like the material world, is actually 0.0000001% of what's actually there. And, we always think of the material world defining the space, and I start to reverse that concept and think maybe it's the space that produced the material world. Maybe space is not empty, maybe space is full, and when it divides itself, when it makes a boundary, we see it as something. We say it's a planet, it's a star, or we say it's an atom or a subatomic particle.
Well, that's that's a good theory on your part, and to me, more scientists need to begin to think that way.
Well, when I looked into it, I found that actually at the atomic level, at the quantum level, when we look at the space there, which is called a vacuum in physics, the vacuum or the space-time manifold at the atomic level is actually not empty. It's full of energy. It's extremely energetic. When the calculation is made, the vacuum fluctuation, that is how much energy is fluctuating in the space-time manifold inside the atom, the density is 10 to the 93rd grams per centimeter cube. 10 to the 93 grams per centimeter cube is extremely large. I'll give you an example. If I took all of the mass of the universe and I squished it into a centimeter cube of space, like I took all the stars and the galaxies, and there's billions of galaxies, there's billions of stars, and I stuck them all into a centimeter cube of space, I would have 10 to the 55th gram per centimeter cube. That would be 39 orders of magnitude less than the density of the vacuum calculated in quantum theory. And we need that number in quantum theory to make everything work. And there's experiments that prove that it is that dense, that it is there, that that energy is in the vacuum. So to think of space, to think of the space between things, or the space in between atoms, or the space inside the atoms as empty, is incorrect. It's actually completely full, and it's just like this. Why can't we experience it then? Well, because if it's everywhere, it all cancels out, and when it cancels out, it appears to us as empty.
When you were a little boy and you were thinking about the dots that the teacher was talking about, and you kept saying, how can this be? I don't think that's the case. I sometimes think about that, Nassim, with the Big Bang Theory as well. I have a difficult time comprehending how all of this started from nothing, from some kind of a bang. And we're not talking about a bang of noise. It was almost as if it was illuminated throughout. but I have a difficult time understanding how it started.
That's right. I mean, the Big Bang Theory says that all of our universe came out of a dot billions of times smaller than the atom, a Planck's distance size, a little singularity. And that's, and so this is actually one of the hints I got early on that actually, the dot can be divided to infinity, that within a dot can reside a universe. And I realized that maybe every atom is a mini dot like that, a mini singularity, a mini black hole, and that it has infinite amount of division possible within it. And I start to treat it that way. I start to look at the atomic world as all mini singularities produced by the division of the space. And when I calculated it, and this is the paper I just released. I just presented it at a physics conference in Liège University in Belgium, and it won a Best Paper award. This paper described the atom as a mini black hole. And when you do that, all of a sudden you can eliminate one of the biggest obstacles to unification of the forces. You can eliminate the strong force. You can, because now you have mini black holes in the nuclei of the atom interacting with each other, and their attraction force is strong enough to hold the atom together. And all of a sudden, you get all the appropriate numbers to describe the nuclei of the atom. That is, the output of the math is what is measured in laboratory, and you've unified the small world with the big world because you've treated the atom as a mini black hole, which uses Einstein field equations and Newtonian mechanics to describe it. And eventually what happened there is that you fulfilled Einstein's dream, that there would be a way to connect the two, that there's a fundamental primal mechanical function to the way the atom works, and then there's a philosophical amazing thing that happens in these calculations, because when I was saying that the vacuum may not be empty, it's full.
Right.
Well, if you were trying to find something that connects all things, the only thing you could point at is space, because it's everywhere. It's inside the atom. It's everywhere between things. So if the space is full and it's got this amazing energy in it because everything is radiating into it, information, well, when you look at it with these calculations I've made, you find that in the vacuum energy potential inside the proton, inside the nucleus of an atom, is all of the mass of the universe, meaning that the vacuum energy connects all the protons in our universe. That's called entanglement. So that all protons are entangled, all protons are connected. And really this gives a meaning to the concept that we're all one, that everything is connected, that you can't disconnect anything from anything else in this universe.
What is your take on dark energy, dark matter? Just what is this?
I think that dark energy, dark matter was invented by us because our equations didn't work out.
We created it, huh?
That's right. We've done that in physics a bunch of times. And usually it eventually gets rectified. But, when we ran the equations that we have for the big stuff, and we looked at the way our universe is behaving, we're missing 96 to 98% the mass of the universe.
It doesn't make any sense, does it?
It doesn't, except that in this case, the way we've ran the equation, we've completely avoided or ignored the fact that the vacuum seems to be energetic, that it's not empty, but that it's full. Instead of looking at that, We invented a new kind of matter that doesn't radiate, that's exactly in the right proportion to make our equations work, and dark energy that's not